Let's talk about appropriate responses in learning really what our kind of realistic goals are and thinking about them.
Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video.
You cannot de-escalate every encounter by a long shot. Some encounters that you just cannot de-escalate. Can you think of any that you just can't de-escalate? Somebody really high, so somebody who's got contaminated thinking. Okay, so whether it's high or super drunk, you ever try to calm a drunk down? Or somebody who's, on meth, something like that. Good luck, man. If I can't make contact with you, we're not going to de-escalate that conflict. What else? What else could you think? Say again? Yeah, so somebody in a mental health crisis, right? And we see those on badge cams a lot these days. You know why we see them so often on badge cam? It's because when you call 911, if there's any violence involved, they're not going to send social services. They're not. Because why would they? I'm going to send people who aren't trained to protect themselves into a violent environment? They're not going to go. And nor would I or should I expect them to. So when I hear people on badge cams, well, John, why aren't they sending more crisis response teams? Have you ever interacted with a crisis response team? I have. I've had them at my house to deal with my family and my child. Great people, okay? Incredible people doing very difficult work. And guess what? I'll never forget the second that we had a big crisis with one of my children. We were sitting around, crisis response was there, and we're trying to kind of mediate and moderate. She decided to start throwing some things. Mental health challenges will do that, right? As soon as she threw something, they literally packed their stuff up and out the door. Didn't communicate, hey, we're not gonna be able to do that. I need you to calm down. Second there was physical violence, books closed, out the door. Guys, I really need you now. We're not allowed to be here anymore. So we've already called the 911 response. If you'd like police to respond, they can. Now, of course, I as dad have to recognize when the police respond, what are they bringing with them? They're bringing violence with them, up to and including deadly force. They did show up. Thank God the cop that showed up on that particular one was the coolest cucumber in the history of cucumbers. Literally, when you got a great cop, kid locked herself in the bathroom, was breaking mirrors and shit in the bathroom. She'd calm down just a little bit. Cop rolls in, literally, just knocks on the door. Could have just kicked that door in and go, hi, friend, let's roll. He's big enough to do it, too. Nope, just this little soft knock. Hey, kiddo. Hey, can I come in, please? I don't want to have a fight. Can we talk this through? I know it's hard. Mom and dad are out here, too. They love you. Let's not have that here. Can you please just let me in? And somehow that broke through. She opened the door for him, put her in cuffs, took her to the hospital, which he shouldn't have done. You shouldn't, it's against policy for PPD to transport a mental health call to the hospital, but he knew that if they had to wait for the ambulance and all that stuff, it was gonna be a problem. It's like, I'll just transport her. He's a great cop, incredible cop. I was like, dude, can I buy you lunch? No, it's not allowed, I'm good. I gotta get to another call, whatever. Can I recommend you for a frickin' citation? Can I buy you a car? Anyway. So those guys show up, but the other side also shows up. They show up with violence. That's what their job is, right? So why aren't we doing that stuff? So not every encounter can be de-escalated, right? Who has the definitive vote? The person who chooses to be violent has a definitive vote in this situation. They're the ones who decide how this is gonna go. Now, we might offer them off-ramps, or we might not offer them off-ramps. And if we don't offer them off-ramps, they may not be able to find them on their own. So sometimes if we offer them off-ramps, they might be able to take those and we can get away from those conflicts. But we can't do every one by a long shot, okay? An imminent deadly threat has to be dealt with immediately. So what do we mean by imminent? Right now, deadly threats cannot be de-escalated. Or, I suppose you can say it is de-escalated by the use of deadly force. So somebody is charging me with a knife and I shoot that person, now that threat level has fallen dramatically when they go down, okay? And they're not able to charge me anymore. Obviously, that's the worst way to de-escalate a conflict if you can avoid it. Because now all the aftermath of it. But sometimes that's the only way you can do things. Remember what we talk about, when do we use deadly force? When I don't have any other choice. If I don't use deadly force, the guy's gonna kill me with a knife. Or he's gonna kill somebody else with a knife, or a gun, or whatever. If I didn't shoot him, he was gonna kill me. I didn't have time to do any of that other stuff. And that's been the standard. So people are like, well, you know, gosh, John, our laws need to change because our laws are messed up. The laws of self-defense have not changed in literally at least 1,500 years. Literally at least 1,500 years. Always the same. Across all of our great land, the self-defense laws of California and Hawaii and New York are the same as here in Kansas, with tiniest little kind of quirks in them for this individual state, but they're all the same. And sometimes people are like, I don't think that's true. Telling you that now the gun laws change state to state pretty good, but not the self-defense laws. They're almost uniform throughout, pretty much the whole world. So again, imminent deadly threat, you gotta deal with it immediately, and I don't make any bones about that. Now that said, again, an imminent physical threat must be dealt with immediately with ordinary force, right? So, hey, wait a minute, this guy who's having a psychotic break or is meth-addled, or Cody approaches me and wants to whack me with a tortilla, okay? Now, you know, I do think, okay, so there's a difference between when this kid, now, you notice he popped Neil pretty hard. Oh, he's a big dude. He's 300 pounds. And he thinks it's funny, by the way. Cody really thinks it's funny to punch me in the balls. Just me in particular. Like, he thinks that's a funny thing, that he can threaten me with that, and if he can get me, he wins, right? Which was really funny when he weighed 160 pounds. It's not really funny when he weighs 300. It still is funny, actually. But, you know, any dude knows, like, you know, getting punched in the balls, you're sitting there going, oh, God, that's amazing, oh, God. And he just thinks it's the bee's knees. But, you know, last night he tried to hit Neil with a tortilla, and instead he smacked him in the side of the face with his fist. Most people didn't catch it because Neil's a big dude and took it like a freaking champion. But there's a difference between that and somebody actively trying to harm you, right? He's playing and all those things, and so you recognize that stuff. That said, every once in a while, I've only had 2 fistfights with Cody, which is a good thing. I have had 2 fistfights with him, though. First time was after he threw a whole cup of water on me because he was pissed off at me. And I'm like, dude, no more of that. And he went to go, it was like, really? He went to go fill his water cup again because he was going to throw it at me again. I said, no. And I went and grabbed the cup, and he let the cup go and punched me in the face. Okay. We're not going to do that anymore. He and I were all by ourselves. All right, let's go find mom. Anyway, an imminent physical threat, you got to deal with that with ordinary force, right? There's a time that just because I have a gun on me doesn't mean I can use a gun. If it's an ordinary threat, we use ordinary force. If it's a deadly threat, we use deadly force. Okay, very clear standard there. So that physical threat must be met with physical force. And if you're like, well, John, I don't have big physical capabilities. Okay, intermediate force tools exist. I do have big physical capabilities, and I still carry an OC spray. I love OC spray. It's a long-range eye poke in a can. If I can eye poke somebody from 10 feet away and they don't want to fight me anymore, I win that fight, and it didn't injure them. OC spray is non-injurious. Hurts like hell, but doesn't injure. Love it. What a great tool, okay? And then you get to watch him whine and complain too. It's amazing, okay? How will we know who he is? He's the guy over there crying in the corner. As a police officer, love OC spray for cops, right? Hose somebody down, and then they're freaking out. Hey man, I can decontaminate you the second I get you in cuffs. Lay down and put your hands behind your back. As soon as your hands are behind your back and I can get you in cuffs, we'll start decontaminating you. I got a decon kit in the back of my car. Can't decon you until you're in cuffs, bro. Ah! 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 Lay down, man. I want to help you. It hurts so bad. He's got all the snot ropes coming out of his face. Just lay down, man. I'll help you out. Happens all the time, okay? A non-imminent or brewing threat, though, is an opportunity for de-escalation. A brewing threat, a non-imminent, that's an opportunity for de-escalation. This is where and we're gonna see a bunch of examples of this, right? This is where, so say as a police officer, you got a guy that's got a knife out, but you've got distance from him. okay, wait a minute, it's not quite a deadly immediate threat right this second. So as long as I don't compress my time, as long as I don't compress the space, then maybe I can sit out here and have the time and go, okay, man, let's talk about this and see if we can avoid this. I don't want to hurt you. I get it. Tell me what's going on today. Maybe in your own life, again, if I say this all the time, I know some people when somebody comes up at the gas station or something, you know, and that kind of homeless person or whatever is begging for change, and, you know, so people are like, back up, man, I ain't got nothing for you. And maybe that's the answer you got to do, right? Like, Neil and Stephanie have to take a harder line than I do, because when they have Cody with them, Cody has no social cues. You interact with him, you catch that, right? He has no social cues whatsoever and will not stay away from situations. So they have to maintain harder lines to protect him. I don't have that as long as I don't have Cody with me. And so I invite that stuff in as a faith commitment. But I will set some boundaries, and somebody's going, hey man, hey, do me a favor, man, that's close enough. And if I can keep them 8 feet, 6, 8, 10 feet away from me, good, cool. It's not you, man, it's me. I'm sorry. What's going on and how can I help you? Now you notice when I'm doing that, I'm doing this. Hey, just do me a favor, that's close enough. What is this? That's a universal sign for stop. I don't care what culture you're in. This says that's close enough. I put up a barrier. Are you going to respect the barrier? Find out if you respect the barrier with some words behind it, and then we go from there. Now, if instead, you ladies get this all the time too, you go, what's this say? This says don't hurt me. This says I'm scared of you. This, hey man, see the difference in body language? Body language matters. That's close enough. Just do me a favor, that's close enough. And if he goes, well, but no, I'm sorry, man. I asked you to stay there for both our safety. Please do. What can I do for you? I want to help you, but what can I do for you? Well, I'm just really hungry. Okay, cool. Let me finish pumping my gas. Step off just a couple feet so I can do that. As soon as I'm done, go ahead inside. I will meet you inside and buy you a meal. I got no problem. Many times that'll do you a lot, right? You'll find out if he's actually hungry too. Well, I mean, but what I really need is some money. Oh gosh, man, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash for you. Do you notice I really carefully worded that? I didn't say I didn't have any cash. I'm sorry, my friend, I don't have any cash for you. But if you need some gas in your car, if you need a hot dog, whatever, I'm happy to help. So again, imminent, brewing threat, an opportunity for de-escalation. Somebody in a road rage situation. Number one way to de-escalate a road rage situation. So you cut somebody off inadvertently. Ever happen to you? I've done it, right? Didn't see that guy there, or didn't think you were quite as close as you thought you were. They get on their brakes. That's not, I'm right here. That's, you're an asshole. Number one way to de-escalate that is?
Sorry, my bad.
So, yeah, a wave, right? Just a little wave. Or roll the window down and out the window. My bad. When somebody does that to you, if they cut you off and they give you the my bad wave, doesn't it cool you right off? Yes. Okay, you did it, but you recognize you're an asshole, so therefore you're only a mild asshole. And I too have been a mild asshole, and therefore we're friends again. Sometimes that even makes me feel, oh, sure, happy day. Good, have a nice day. God bless you. Okay? Just, again, that opportunity. Instead, man, you ever have somebody just all kinds of pissed off at you, and then that stuff goes down, and they just gets pissed off and more pissed off and more pissed off? And you see them raging in their car? Had this with my kids not long ago. I'm driving the Swagger wagon, okay, with my kids. Our really pimping 2020 Honda Odyssey, okay? Rolling through the town, showing off with our bumping sound system. Not really. I got 3 of my kids in the car, driving them to the used bookstore, because that's what my kids wanted to do right then. Driving down 7th Street in Phoenix, Arizona. It's kind of a central artery. And I see, okay, so we're driving down the street, and this gal is behind me. I'm in the right lane. She's in the left lane. She's about 4 cars back. But it's open between her and me. I see, I'm in the right lane stacking up a ways ahead, so I decide I'm going to get over to get around these folks. And she took offense at that for some reason. I mean, I had tons of space. I mean, I wasn't like, I didn't jam her up. She wasn't in my blind spot, and none of that. She's just 4 cars behind. I didn't even think about it. So I go, I speed up through a little bit, and the next thing I know, she is right on my bumper. Pissed off, like talking about my intelligence and my IQ through the windshield. Dude, what the hell? So as soon as I can, I get around these couple cars, I pull back over, and she goes, whoa, and goes blowing by me and gives me the full bird and the horn as she goes by. What the heck, man? So she gets by and long by. Sorry, lady, whatever. My bad. I don't even think about her a little bit. A little while down the road, I get over into the left lane. I wasn't even thinking about who she was or where she was at, because that to me was over and she was gone and she was past. Oh no, at that point, I didn't realize she was in front of me, so she decides to brake check me super hard. So now I'm checking hey, look, an ABS function test on my rad 2020 Honda Odyssey. So now I'm a little frustrated, and she's just, well, then right up ahead, there's a stoplight. And she has to pull to a full stop right in front of me. And I can't get away from that. There's cars behind me, cars on either side of me. So now she's sitting there in front, and she is just full, in her car. And I'm like, what happened in your life today, lady? Like, what is going on? Did your dog die today or something? Did you get fired at work? Like, what happened, man? I am so sorry. I hope you're okay. But at the same time, I'm telling my kids, okay, listen, hey, sorry. Like, I don't know what happened, but nope, that made it worse. And she was just raging. So I got my oldest in the front who's, she's not against firearms or anything like that, but she's a really peaceful kid. And so I got to tell all three of my kids, okay, listen, everybody just stay calm. As long as she doesn't get out of the car, we'll be fine. Well, Papa, what happens if she gets out of the car? It's going to depend on what she does when she gets out of the car. If she gets out of the car and she just wants to yell, make sure that your windows are up and our doors are locked. So the doors were locked and the windows were up. Don't roll the windows down. Keep the doors locked. And if she wants to just yell at us, or if she wants to beat on the car, I want one of you guys to have your phone out and be recording it in case she gets beating on our car so we can show it to the insurance company. Simple as that. And we can show them, this was the license plate on the driver of the car in front of me, and she beat the crap out of my car. I would like her to pay for it. Okay. If she gets out with something in her hands, though, then that's going to get a little bit more serious. Okay? So if that happens, don't freak out. Just let me do my job. Should be okay. Trust me, I don't want to shoot somebody today. But if she gets out with a gun in her hand, it's going to get real loud. Just stay calm. Cool. Thankfully, she just decided that she was just going to rage against the machine in the car. And literally, she took off, and I was like, 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. Somebody's behind me starts honking. I know, bro. 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 10 seconds. And then pulled out, light traffic here, made the right-hand turn, just got right away from her. Okay? Opportunities for de-escalation. Make sure that you take those if you can.